That's great, Audit. I'm back. I'm just outside the gym again, as I am at times. I was thinking about my gym membership. And I have a decent membership at a decent gym. It's fine. I'm not knocking that. I never read it. I never read it. I had some guy in $9 Dickies and a company brand polo shirt tell me that it was $35 a month for a membership that let me bring my wife whenever I felt like it, and that I was free to cancel as long as I gave him a month's notice. Seemed like a pretty sweet deal. Probably is, honestly. It's a fairly nice gym. But I never read it. There could be fucking anything in there. And I didn't not read it because I don't understand the significance of signing binding legal documents. Of course I do. Whenever I deal with legal paperwork, or when I deal with employment paperwork, or anything where I know there's a serious amount of money involved, if I ever were to make the mistake of picking up a mortgage, or whenever I move into a new apartment or something, I read those thoroughly. Because I understand that there's a significant value attached to the thing I am signing. But there's significant value attached to every single contract I agree to. And that includes things like terms of service. Hell, YouTube has a terms of service. I don't know what's in it. Neither do you. It's labyrinthine. You need to have an advanced law degree to understand anything about the nuances which are carried by the words in those contracts. We have a whole profession. Actually, we have several professions dedicated entirely to the understanding of the words in these legally binding contracts. You shouldn't have to have an advanced law degree to not get taken advantage of. And yeah, of course, you can melt it down and you can get pedantic and debate teeny tiny points about how these uber specific wordings and these niche skills prevent misunderstanding, and I'm sure at one level or another they do. But a contract, and of course I have the freedom, as do you, to not sign it. Fine. I have a freedom to not sign a legally binding contract that is 30 pages long and I understand part of, and I have a higher education. I have the freedom not to sign that contract with my power company, of which there's one, with my internet service provider, of which there is one. I have the freedom not to sign that contract with my apartment, and I rent from a corporate apartment company. Sure, I could not sign that contract. Then I have to figure out somewhere else to live. I have to agree new terms of service with my bank every couple of months, and I think I have a pretty decent bank. And it's a thing nobody wants, but it's a thing that's so ubiquitous we stop thinking about it. That's the uncomfortable part, is how something so desperately unpopular and unwanted can be so universal we just accept it. You know, Congress has about a 7% approval rating? A 7% approval rating. But congressmen and women have a 94% re-election rate. 94. Sounds like somebody approves of somebody. We all hate this organization, but we like our congressmen because they're really good at doing community outreach, and I am not above that. I have in the past voted for and watched people who I really respect vote for people who are antithetic to their political party, admittedly, back when there was a little bit more interplay between the two in this country. But I've watched people vote for people who are ideologically antithetic to them because they did community outreach really well. And not just words and phrases. Hell, my parents, when I was a small child, they both worked 70 plus hours a week. So they needed childcare, so they paid for a daycare service, who screwed over all of the families who used their service by closing their doors exactly one day with no notice after accepting monthly fees. And not they, but somebody called the congressman who was of the other political demographic, and the IRS was there the next day. And my parents voted for him in the next election. As well they should. He worked on behalf of his community. But he was perfectly contributory to this deadlock of toxicity we have now. Those of you who are watching this on iPhones, you slapped about 8 Apple terms of services to get to here. Tell me what's in paragraph 2 of any of them. We're so used to signing away all of our rights for things that really should be utilities or close to them. Things in which we should have say, we should have choice, we should have implied freedom. And unless you can afford a team of top-level lawyers, the ones who, if you offered an Armani suit and a Mercedes, would ask you why they were being insulted, unless you can afford the expensive boys and girls, they're binding. They're utterly binding. This has been The Last Great Audit.